Our guest this morning is a prime example of what we just were singing about. I met her yesterday for the first time, and she revived some lacking energy in me from our get-together yesterday. Her name is Stef Swink, and be sure you make it a W and nothing else. She's been a licensed practitioner and a loving life coach for 19 years. And I put my addition together and discovered that in another year or so she will also become a one of those things that... Yes, thank you. An emeritus. Yes. Yes. She is a personal assistant to the author and New Thought guru, Louise Hay. And she acted as a frequent guest writer for her in her Dear Louise column. And she now writes her own popular advice column, Ask Stef, published monthly in the Science of Mind magazine. Now I noticed that there's some, I checked out October and she's in there, and there's some copies back there if you want to catch up with what she's been writing. Through spiritual counseling and mentoring, as well as workshop, class, and retreat facilitations, Stef powerfully assists others in dismantling false beliefs and limitations, thereby creating deeply fulfilling lives they love. I was impressed, and I know you're going to be, so hold on to your seats. And Stephanie, Stef, would
Good morning. Wow. There's some awesome energy in here. And lots of it. Lots of it. Wow. Hold on. I'm just going to take all this in for a second here. Okay. This one right here. Grab this one right here. Is it on? Hello. You know, being in this community, I knew it. That song was going to choke me up. Use me. And we had to laugh because I talked about that yesterday in the practitioner retreat. Movement, the science of mind and spirit, seems to me over all these years to be evolving from there's a power in the universe that I can use to there's a power in the universe that can use me. So I get all choked up when I think about that because that's happening right here and right now. So in preparing for this talk, I had this really fun and invigorating conversation with my husband, who got very excited when I told him about the title of the talk that I downloaded. Driving through Kansas, I need your talk title. And I'm thinking, okay, God, you're going to have to just give it to me. Because I'm driving home on a 9-hour day, and in dropped in the currency of your self-perception. The currency of your self-perception. So my husband got very excited with me, and he gave me this idea. And this is how I'm going to start with you. I want to talk about lightning rods and the fact that you're that. So if you don't know how lightning rods work, like I didn't, I assumed that lightning rods worked as something that attracts the lightning. Sounds like what most people believe. But what lightning rods actually are is they're something that is placed out there, something that is made available to that incredible energy source, and the only reason that it works and does what it does, which is serve as a channel for that energy to move down into the earth, is that it is grounded. So you can probably see where I'm going with this. So the thing about that is that being lightning rods for God requires us to be available, to put ourselves out there, to be vulnerable. And when I talk about this, I'm talking about something that is going on all the time anyway. So whether you're aware of it, whether you're consciously putting yourself out there into the world to be a conduit of divine energy, it's happening anyway. So when I think about this, I'm going to this place where I realized that the only thing that I believe that limits that current moving through us, that current of energy, is our self-perception. It's that conversation that we have in our heads, the one that we don't even, most of the time, find ourselves consciously aware of. Anything that starts with I am and follows that is a story you're making up in your head, right? And we do it all the time. So take a breath. Yes, somebody just did that up here front. Taking a breath, that conversation that we have. And simultaneously, however, no matter how long we've had a conversation, even if it's a limited one about who we think we are, it doesn't change the truth. So at any moment, at any point in time, we can, quote unquote, be struck by lightning. I'll have you know that I did some research. I thought, I'm going to find a really juicy story to bring this home. And I went online and I looked up stories of people who have survived lightning strikes. I decided not to share any of those stories. I was like, oh, that's not where we're going. Although, I will say that sometimes it can feel like when we really get jolted with the truth, that it can hurt sometimes. And that's okay. There's something about the awakening process that I am so committed to, awakening to lives that we love, that it is imperative to include what we love, those things that are difficult, including the stories that we've had about ourselves that are painful. Those too are allowed. So, you can see where I'm going with this currency of your self-perception. And one of the ways that I had fun with this, and my husband and I did together, was talking about the word current. So there's 3 definitions for current that we're going to explore today. The first one is current, okay? I'm current. I'm right here. I'm right now. There's nowhere else to be. That makes us radically available to the divine moving through each one of us uniquely when we're present, when we're in the current moment. The second definition of current is flow, the way that air or water moves in a definite direction, okay? So, flow. So I ask you, do you feel like you're in the flow? Or are you, like so many of us do, myself included, are you getting caught up in the difficulty that is so readily available to us, right? Through the news, through our own personal experiences, what's going on in around the planet? Do you then close or cling to the side of the river? My mentor, an old friend and employer, as you mentioned, as you heard, was Louise Hay, a very famous author in this movement. And she was a piece of work to work with, I will tell you that. And she was a beautiful being. She passed away very recently at the age of 90. And one of the things that she taught me was about that flow, that current of energy. She said, are you going to the infinite river of the abundance of life with a teacup or a thimble or a fire hose? And that really got me thinking, because we have a choice. We are constantly at choice about how we are moving with the currency of the flow of energy in our lives, divine energy. So I thought about this actually this morning. We laugh about how we get so prepared for this sort of thing, something that we're going to offer and give of ourselves, and then Spirit just says, nice try, I'm going to do this. So this morning what I realized was, even though I'm not a huge fan of oil pipelines, I am a fan of a pipeline going into that place where Louise suggested, setting up a pipeline in our consciousness to be the conduits that we are designed to be. I love all of you. I haven't met all of you, but I love all of you. And I want to say that as I preface what I'm about to say, which is, in a way, I don't care about what you have been through. I only care about who you are right now. And the decision that you made to come here today, the decision that many people made to say yes to my saying, can I come and share my heart with you? That decision, that presence, that is making you available to the good that is yours. So I don't care about the stories that you've had about yourself. I only care about the current that you're in with me right now, and where I am determined that it is carrying you forward from here. So the third definition of current, the currency, and I love this one. I love that money is called currency. So think about that. Current is energy in motion. So in essence, financial good, financial flow is energy in motion. Boy, do we make up a lot of stories about that. And a lot of stories about our connection to it. But I love what one of my teachers has said to me about the definition of the word abundance. It doesn't necessarily only mean financial by any stretch. Abundance, take this in, nice deep breath. Abundance is overflowing good. Overflowing good. Not just enough, but more than enough. And the more that you receive that good, the more that you just make a decision in the current moment that you are available to it, that you deserve it, that you're not going to buy into those old stories of limitation, you make yourself available. You become the pipeline or the lightning rod for that good. Nothing holds it back. You agree with me? I'm seeing some head nodding. That's really good. So, this is so good. This is another thing that dropped in this morning that I want to share with you. I love Meister Eckhart. If you haven't read or familiarized yourself with Meister Eckhart, I highly recommend that you do. So in taking in this idea that we are conduits of the divine, I'm just going to ask you to close your eyes for a moment as I read to you a few words of Meister Eckhart's. And know that this applies directly to you. The name of the poem, the title is To See as God Sees. It is your destiny to see as God sees, to know as God knows, to feel as God feels. How is this possible? How? Because divine love cannot defy its very self. Divine love will be eternally true to its own being, and its being is giving all that it can at the perfect moment, which is right now. And the greatest gift God can give his own experience, every object, every creature, every man, woman, and child has a soul, and it is the destiny of all to see as God sees, to know as God knows, to feel as God feels, to be as God is. So take another breath there. You know those stories that I was talking about, boy, I can relate. And once again, some of this just dropped in this morning at breakfast with Sherry. I was thinking about a story that I might share with you about this, just to kind of bring it home to a personal place. So once upon a time, there was this little, scrawny, wild-haired little girl. And she lived in a deep connection to nature, but a disconnection from human beings. She experienced some pretty harsh abuse, physically and emotionally, within her family. So she grew up sort of withdrawn with a decision that she made as a child that the safest way to be in the world was to be hidden. She had a real good knack of making forts in the yard where she could hide from the abuser and not be seen. So that became the way of living. It worked really well for a while. And then this girl grew up a little bit. She found herself at a workshop, and it was kind of intense. And it ended up that there was 20 people in a line who were lined up to come right up to her, and their assignment was to say one negative thing that they saw or perceived about her. Can you imagine? And one positive thing. Well, the miracle of miracles was, most of us tend to only hear the negative, kind of some of that weird wiring that we have. The amazing miracle was that all she could remember was the astounding confusion that she felt because what she heard in the positive line over and over again was that they saw her as a confident person. That was the word that stood out. Well, that little scrawny, wild-haired girl is me. And I couldn't believe it. Confident? What are they seeing? What am I missing? All of a sudden, that story that staying invisible was the best way to live in life, unraveled. And so, here I am. Thank you. So far from invisible. And it's not always easy, there's that, safety drives us, and here I am saying to you, please consider being a lightning rod for the divine. Put yourself out there to be struck by this incredible source. And you might be saying, no, I don't think so. But what I want to say is that the beauty of making yourself available is that miracles become the norm. I love what the Course in Miracles says, that a miracle is nothing more than a shift in perception. Isn't that cool? So just a little and everything changes. I'm going to take a little drink here. Hold on. So what I'd like to do with you now is to help you, offer to you an opportunity to widen the opening of your good. Okay, you willing? You open? You're available? I can tell. This is such good news. So once again, I'm going to ask you to close your eyes. All right. And if you've got anything that you're holding in your hands, I'm going to ask you to set that down. And if you'd humor me by allowing your hands to fall down upon your lap with your palms open. A very receptive pose. Take a nice deep breath. Let it out. Oh. That felt so good, I think we should do it again. One more, all the way up. Let it fall out. So I'm going to engage with you with the power of your imagination right now. And I want you to imagine that there is a beam of light coming down from up above you and moving and flowing over your open hands. It's like liquid light, if you will. And it's flowing into your hands, up your arms, into your chest, filling up your heart. It's moving all the way up through your neck and into your head and into that beautiful, brilliant mind of yours. It's also pouring out over your legs and down your feet and pooling at your feet. So you are right now immersed in this love light. And what I know is that the current of this energy is moving into any part of yourself that has been attached to, that is resistant or afraid of letting go of an old story that is no longer true. So I'm just trusting that that light wisdom of God is moving right into your awareness to a place that you can feel. It might even be physical. Maybe that limiting energy is showing up in your body somewhere. The light's moving right there, unraveling, moving into the flow. Take another nice full breath, keeping your eyes closed. And I'm feeling that there's just a little more. There's something else here. Something in each one of you. Some place where this light wants to go. Just listen. Let it go there. And then let it go. Beautiful. Okay. So when you're ready, you're going to breathe again. Nice full one. And as you're ready, open your eyes. How'd it feel to be in the current? Yeah. So this is something that is, once again, I believe, going on all the time. And I was sharing with the practitioners yesterday that one of the ways that I kind of avoid those things that want my attention, one of the ways I keep myself out of the flow is my addiction to to-do lists. And how I will accomplish something that might not be on the list, and I'll write it on the list just so I can cross it off. Anybody else do anything as silly as that? Okay. All right, so you can relate. So that only took a couple of moments, maybe 2 or 3 minutes. So I just want to suggest that to you, that that's something that's available to you, that you can do just about any time, except if you're driving, keep your eyes open. Other than that, you can just decide, I'm going to move myself back into the flow. I'm going to be in that currency of the divine. And there's really no point in fighting it because that's all that you are anyway. The rest is just make-believe. Yeah, so I want to share a little bit about what our wonderful founder, Ernest Holmes, has to say about this. And I love the way that synchronicity works. That's another way of being in the flow. The flow shows up as, those wonderful things that you just can't deny. You open a book, somebody says something, and you just shake your head because it's so obvious that something beyond our little beautiful human selves is going on. So here it is, and it's such small print, I have to take off my glasses. All right. This is what Ernest Holmes has to say, right in alignment with what we're talking about. As I attune myself to the perfection of God, it flows through me. It dissipates all the obstructions of my everyday life, transforming all confusion into love and beauty. By the way, I have a feeling somebody out there is going, yeah, this doesn't apply to me. It does. Just listening to my intuition, I realized that I must bring this perfection of reality into expression. For the mind and heart, get this, okay, just take this line in. This is all you take with you from today, this is it. For the mind and heart of each human being are only the channels, are the only channels God has through which to manifest its infinite mind and perfect love into the world. In other words, creation itself can't do what it wants to do unless you are willing. So there you go, a little more. As I permit this reality to be expressed in me and through me, I am joyous in the assurance that I am bringing into being that much more of God. I know I need only to realize this true state of being, which is love, to transform all that appears imperfect. That's it. Love is that which is real, complete harmony, and I am that. Yeah. So, I want to make sure I didn't leave any other juicy goodness out. No, I didn't. So I just want to ask you to ask yourself, are you willing? Are you willing to let go of the story that says that you're not a part of it all? And I want to say that means all of it. All of it. The difficulty that you see on the news, you're a part of that. And the opportunity that each one of us has is to make the decision that we are going to be points of light, we're going to be lightning rods of good because we are that anyway, and just decide that we have that power and to wield it however we can, which might look just like smiling at a stranger. So, let's go into prayer now. So how delicious it is to be here together, to be in this space that is holy and sacred and amplified in the beauty and the love light of the divine because we are together. The infinite knows exactly what it is doing throughout its creation, and it decided in that infinite wisdom to reveal itself, to manifest itself, to express itself as each one of us. Spirit in all of its loving glory and infinite creation could not be its complete, incredible self if it was not for each point of life, and that is who we are. And so I take a stand here today with my heart open and my mind open to take a stand in consciousness and partnership with each person here, each person hearing these words, and I recognize and know that the old limiting stories are falling away. There is no resistance. They're just joyfully relieved to let go, and they go. And each one of us then is moving into that current, into that flow, allowing that overflowing good to reveal itself all throughout our lives. Again, no resistance. And that overflowing good, that abundance of the divine nurtures us, brings us opportunities to express the truth of who we are without apology. And we shine. And therefore, in this moment, I recognize that these words, this prayer, this congregation, this community is having a powerful, direct, and immediate impact on the energy of the current of the divine circulating this planet right now. Moving like that light that we allowed to move into our bodies. We are that love light moving throughout this planet, touching into those places of pain or fear and transforming them. And so for this great good and the good that continues to flow, individually and collectively, I just say, thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. We accept it. We allow it as we simultaneously let it go. And this prayer takes off like a beautiful flock of birds, free, unencumbered, manifest right here, right now. And together we just agree upon this by saying together, and so it is.